Vice and addiction. The meaning of vice is immoral or wicked behavior. Addiction is the condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. Let's face it, everybody has vices. It could be alcohol, food, video games, drugs, women, illegal activity, violence, or even pain. And most of us are addicted to different things through different stages in our life. For myself, the biggest addiction that I've had to conquer and figure out why is alcohol, 100%. It's almost destroyed most of the relationships that I've had in the past. And it took me a long time to figure out why I was doing what I was doing. I understood I had a problem, but for something that is legal and something that everybody does, it seems like it was really, really hard for me to kick. And I would go through times where be good for a year or so or a couple weeks, and I'd drink and I'd say, "Oh, I'm never doing that again." But through the grace of God, I am sober. And when you have these vices and these addictions, the first step is understanding you have a problem, which is good. And most of them are very glaring, and you understand, and everybody tells you. But for some people, it's like, oh, you can eat whatever you want and you can control yourself, or you can just play video games for a little bit, or that pain that you keep, it doesn't destroy you. So you have to think about yourself. Like, it's hard to look at somebody else's vice or addiction and measure it to yourself, because it's not the same through one person and another. And routing out these vices is something that's going to make your life 100 times easier and better. And these things that are a problem, you think other people don't, but they do. And it's more glaring on their side. The vices show through. And most of it stems back from when you're a kid, or how you're brought up, or where you come from, your culture. So you think it's okay because everyone you knew or that you know now are doing these bad things, and that they're all right. So if they can do it, then I can do it. And that's just not the way it is. Some people can do these things and you cannot. Like, for me, example, for alcohol, everybody drinks. And I'm in a very like drinking culture, and everybody drinks pretty heavily. And I would see these people that were successful, and they would drink, and it shows something, a status, or it was cool. And that's what I thought. And I was very young, and I always thought that's what you do. But when I did what they did, I didn't get the same results. It didn't work for me. My body handled it differently. And I would do things that were out of character for myself. And when you do something for so long, say like 17, 20 years, um, you think it's who you are. And people will tell you that it's who you are, and it's not true. Just like someone that eats a ton, or that someone that likes violence just because that's what they grew up with. These things are something that you can stop with the knowledge, but you have to understand that any one of these addictive personality traits, you have to understand that you have that personality trait, and that just because other people can do it doesn't mean that you can. And that's only the first step when it comes to that. Like, one of the very first things that I knocked out of like my vices was playing video games. I played a ton of video games and I loved it. I still love video games. I just don't play them anymore because it's not worth it. When it comes to something that you like a lot and it's negative to your life, I would call that's that addiction or that vice. It's something that's holding you back, that is not good for your life or for your future development. And I was playing between like around 5 hours a day. and it was all good because I was doing everything else, and it didn't hurt anything like, say, like drinking or drugs, or having a eating problem would, but it was a waste of time. Even though I enjoyed it, I stopped doing that and figured out how to do more healthy things like sleeping correctly and eating right and making some money. And those good traits, they multiplied into better overall life for not just me, but my family and my friends. So I kicked that one first. And then I started looking at other ways that I am hemorrhaging or just wasting time, and then I thought of how much money I'm spending on things, and I stopped spending money on myself. I was very minimalistic at the beginning, but when you when people do really have spending problems, they don't see it and they just spend and spend, and that is very detrimental. But for someone that you don't spend a lot, it still goes somewhere. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit or a lot. That spending is is not something that you need. So like basically, I would just cut out like eating out and buying frivolous things because I didn't need them, and that would save money, and I could put that into better things. And then next, I I used to chew tobacco all the time, and that was harder to kick than anything else. But I put a dollar cost to every month, and I got to keep that and put it into something that was useful. And that's what all of these vices can be done, at least for myself. If I could turn a vice into something that was healthy for me, that made me feel better because I was doing something more productive, not just for myself, but for somebody else, for my loved ones. And for me, that sacrifice, the sacrifice that I made through taking out these vices one by one, they made my life better. It was healthier for me. All these things I was doing, they weren't healthy. And it made me happy that they are gone and they were replaced with something good. So anytime you have one of these vices or these addicted things that everybody has, and you aren't the only one, trust me. Everybody has something. And a lot of people replace addictions with healthy addictions because you can be addicted to something that is good. So you have to replace that time and that energy that you're putting into something because it's got to go somewhere else, and you have to make sure it doesn't go into something that is bad. But you have to talk to people. If you try to do it all by yourself, you can get lucky like me, but there are thousands and thousands of men that weren't lucky, that ruined their life, and I could have easily ruined my life over and over. Like, I am a cat with nine lives, and I don't know how many I have left, but the security that I don't have to look like I'm not like I would wake up and be like, "Oh shit, what did I do last night?" Or just looking over my back at it, like I don't know how bad last night got, or is something going to creep back into like from my past. Like I don't have to do that anymore. And I still get that like my phone will ring and I'll be like, "Oh no," because back then it was so bad that anything I could have done anything. And it wasn't all my fault, but you have to take accountability because you are when you're made, you don't get to decide what kind of bad things that you have built inside of you. It's just how you are. You could be wired differently. You could be more angry than other people. You could be more depressed, sad, and a lot of people that are depressed and sad and angry and lonely, they they fill it full of things that make them feel better for a short while, short term, as fast as they can. And most of the time, those things aren't good things. So if you have friends or family or colleagues that you see these bad traits, these vices, and these addictive personality traits that they have, ask them. You know, um, I wish someone would have helped me earlier because it took until I was past 30 years old to finally get it together myself. And not a lot of people get to do that. But I've met a lot of people that they're like, you got it together earlier than I did, which is really, really scary if you think about it, because that means that they've wasted so many years. And I'm glad that I didn't have to go through that. So you watch out for your friends and your family that seem like they're just not getting it, because they probably think they have a clue of what's wrong. They just don't know how to do it. And it's so easy to look at somebody else and be like, why can't you just do that? I can do it. It's so easy to do that. And people do it all the time. They get judged over and over and over. Because if you can't physically see the pain or the suffering that someone goes through with things that you think that they should be able to control, you really don't care about them. And you'll never see it. And those people do need your help. And if you are one of those people, just reach out to somebody and talk to them about it. Ask them, ask them how could I help myself? Like, could you help me? A lot of people need accountability. So maybe you could be that accountability for somebody.